They came to study us, not to fight us. To them, humanity was just another primitive carbon-based curiosity, until the day their tranquilizers failed, until they watched soldiers with shattered legs stand up again. The aliens had spent 12,000 cycles mapping life across the stars, but never had they found a species that refused to stop even when death seemed certain. And as they fled, terrified, one wounded human smiled at the camera, a smile that said, "You've just made the worst mistake in your galaxy's history. If that opening gave you chills, you're going to love what's coming." This is one of those rare HFY stories that reminds us why humans are legends among the stars. So hit that like button. If you're proud of humanity, subscribe for more epic sci-fi tales, and don't forget to share this with a friend who needs a dose of that no-off-switch spirit. They called it Routine Observation Cycle 472. A simple mission: scan, sample, report. For the alien research vessel Endless Inquiry, humanity was just another dot in the endless dark. Primitive, chaotic, unrefined. From his sterile observation deck, xenobiologist Tuve Nex peered down at the blue-green marble and sighed. "Let's get this over with," he muttered. He'd cataloged dozens of worlds before, docile herbivores, predictable predators, all neatly defined by biology. But Earth was different. Its data didn't fit. Infrared scans showed cities that never slept. War simulations ran hotter than any civilization on record. Even their art pulsed with violence and hope, an impossible mix. The crew dismissed it as noise. "Emotional instability," Commander Zillith said coldly. Then came the first ground test. They released harmless tranquilizer drones over a human combat zone, a routine behavioral study. Within seconds, the readings went haywire. Tuve Nex's 4 hearts skipped. What are they doing?" he whispered. On the screens, tranquilized humans staggered, then stood back up, bruised, bleeding, still fighting. That's when the room fell silent. This wasn't data collection anymore. This was a discovery. The command deck erupted in disbelief. "Impossible!" Commander Zillith's claws slammed the console. "Every sentient species has neural inhibitors, every single one." And yet, the screens didn't lie. Humans struck by enough neurotoxin to fell a mountain beast were still moving, limping, crawling, fighting. The ship's AI, Quantic, processed the data in eerie silence. Then, with a tone that almost sounded afraid, it spoke. "Analysis complete. Humans possess no central neural inhibitor pathway. Repeat, they have no standard off-switch mechanism." The words froze everyone in place. No off-switch? No biological limiter? That was madness. Every species had one. A built-in shutdown to protect the body from self-destruction. But humans didn't. They just kept going. One soldier, dragging a shattered leg, fired another shot before collapsing. Another, half-conscious, used his own belt to stop the bleeding, and stood back up. Tuve Nex felt his throat tighten. This isn't evolution," he whispered. "It's defiance." And deep down, in the quiet hum of the observation deck, fear began to bloom. Because suddenly, every alien aboard the Endless Inquiry realized something horrifying. They hadn't been observing a species. They'd been watching a storm that refused to die. The alarms came without warning. A deafening klaxon shattered the command deck's frozen silence. They've found us," cried Fa, the sensor officer. "They've located our cloaked position." "How?" Zillith demanded, his voice trembling. "It's impossible! No primitive could—" But the impossible had already happened. The screens flashed with targeting data, triangulated coordinates, traced directly to the Endless Inquiry's invisible orbit. And the source? A human soldier. Bleeding. Half-conscious. Lieutenant Riker. Quantic's voice cut through the chaos. Human identified as Riker. Vital signs critical. Operating at 28% reduced lung capacity. Neural activity heightened. He has performed trigonometric calculations under fire to determine our cloaked signal origin. For a moment, no one spoke. Then Tuve Nex, the scientist who thought he'd seen everything, began to laugh. Not out of joy, but disbelief. They're solving math while dying. The laughter turned into dread as the first explosion rocked the hull. Riker had sent their coordinates to his command, while bleeding out. Through the smoke and alarms, one image seared itself into memory. Riker, turning toward their hidden camera, smiling through the blood. It wasn't a smile of victory. It was a promise. 3 cycles later, the nightmares hadn't stopped. Every scan, every report from Earth told the same story, resistance beyond logic. And then came the worst transmission of all. One of their captives had escaped. Her name was Sergeant Alana Winters. Standard pain compliance procedures failed within minutes. Every time they increased the voltage, her vitals spiked, not in distress, but in focus. She used pain like fuel. "She's accelerating!" shouted a medic. "This is impossible! She should be unconscious!" But Winters wasn't just awake. She was evolving. She broke restraints rated for creatures 3 times her size, incapacitated Captain Jorax, and before the alarms could finish sounding, she'd stolen half their tactical database. Her parting words echoed through the comm logs, calm and chilling. Pain is just weakness leaving the body. When the crew finally replayed the footage, Tuve Nex's hands trembled. He'd never seen anything like it. The human wasn't running from pain. She was using it to become stronger. And then, 3 days later, human ships appeared, 17 of them, tearing through space with stolen wormhole tech. They'd reverse-engineered it from Winters' escape pod in 72 hours. That's when everyone realized they weren't fighting animals. They were fighting adaptation itself. The galaxy called for answers. The endless inquiry returned home scarred, haunted, and no one believed their reports. So the Confederation demanded proof. A diplomatic summit was arranged. 3 humans arrived. Admiral Leo Tanaka, calm as deep water. Sergeant Alana Winters, the escaped warrior, coiled like a blade behind polite eyes. And Dr. Patel, the scientist who spoke softly but saw everything. The meeting began with tension thick enough to taste. Then chaos. An attack. 12 pirate warships descended without warning. The council panicked. Systems failed. Yet in the storm, Tanaka's voice was steady. "Request permission to assist in the defense of this station." 3 unarmed humans, volunteering to face an armada. Madness. And yet, they did it. Tanaka turned the station's chaos into a symphony. Patel cracked the enemy's codes in minutes. And Winters? She vanished into the corridors, reappearing only after 30 pirates were down, 12 captured alive. When the smoke cleared, silence filled the hall. Dr. Patel stood before the council. "You think we lack an off switch," he said quietly. "You're wrong. We are the off switch. We choose when to stop." And for the first time in recorded galactic history, the aliens believed.